You didn't fall in love with them. You fell in love with what you projected onto them. Love at first sight is not love. It's chemistry. It's fantasy. It has your brain flooding itself with dopamine because you saw someone attractive and decided in 3 seconds that they could be everything you've ever wanted. But you don't know them. You don't know how they handle conflict. You don't know their values. You don't know if they're kind when no one's watching. You don't know if they'll still be interesting after 6 months. You know what they look like, how they made you feel in a moment. And you've built an entire person around that feeling. That's not love. That's projection, and it's one of the most dangerous things you can do to yourself. We've been fed this story our entire lives. Movies, songs, books, the idea that you can lock eyes with a stranger across a crowded room and just know that something cosmic happens, that the universe aligns and you've found your person. It's romantic. It's intoxicating, and it's completely false. You meet someone. Maybe at a party, maybe at a coffee shop, maybe on an app. You feel something instant. Electric. Your heart races. You can't stop thinking about them. Every text feels significant. Every glance feels loaded with meaning. You're convinced this is different. This is special. This is fate. But what you're actually experiencing is a chemical reaction. Your brain saw someone who fits your physical preferences and triggered a dopamine release. The same chemical that fires when you eat chocolate or win money or do cocaine. You're high, not in love. And in that high state, you do something catastrophic. You fill in the blanks. You don't know this person, so your brain creates them. You take the limited information you have, their laugh, the way they looked at you, and you construct an entire human being around it. You decide they're kind because they have a warm smile. You decide they're deep because they mentioned a book you like. You decide they're your soulmate because the conversation flowed easily for 20 minutes. But none of that is real. You're not seeing them. You're seeing your ideal partner wearing their face. Psychologists call this the halo effect. One positive trait usually physical attractiveness makes you assume they have all positive traits. Beautiful people must be good. Charming people must be trustworthy. People who give you butterflies must be right for you. You're in love with a ghost. Ah, fantasy. A person who doesn't exist. And you're about to waste months or years of your life figuring that out. Let's talk about what love actually requires, not the feeling. The real thing. Love requires knowledge. You cannot love someone you don't know. You can be attracted to them, infatuated with them, obsessed with them, but you cannot love them. Love is looking at someone with full knowledge of who they are, their flaws, their wounds, their patterns, their darkness, and choosing them anyway. Love is built over time through shared experiences, through seeing how someone behaves when life gets hard, through learning their character. You can't get that in a glance. You can't get that in a conversation. You can't get that in a week or even a month. What you get in that first moment is dopamine, your brain's reward chemical. It fires when you encounter something novel and potentially rewarding. It's the anticipation chemical, the maybe this will make me happy chemical. Dopamine feels incredible. It makes you energized, focused, obsessed. It's why you can't eat, can't sleep, can't stop checking your phone. Your brain is chasing the reward it thinks this person represents. But here's the problem. Dopamine doesn't care if the person is actually good for you. It just cares that they're new and exciting. It fires just as strongly for people who are terrible for you as it does for people who are healthy for you. That spark you feel, that's not your soul recognizing its match. That's your neurochemistry, responding to visual stimuli and the possibility of reward. And the fantasy you build, that's your brain trying to make sense of the dopamine flood. You feel something intense, so there must be a reason. They must be special. This must be meaningful. Your brain reverse engineers a story to justify the feeling. Scientists have studied this. When people report love at first sight, What they're actually reporting is strong physical attraction plus a retrospective narrative, meaning they felt attracted, pursued the relationship, and then later rewrote the story to say they knew from the beginning, but they didn't know. They guessed. And sometimes the guess happened to be right. Most of the time, it was love at first sight isn't love recognizing love. It's attraction convincing you it's something more. And the difference between those two things is the difference between healthy relationships and absolute disasters. Here's where it gets dangerous. When you believe you've fallen in love at first sight, you ignore red flags because you've already decided this person is your person. You've invested in the fantasy. You've told your friends about the incredible connection. You've imagined your future together. And now your ego is attached to being right. So when they show you who they really are, when they're inconsistent, when they're emotionally unavailable, when they're controlling, when they're cruelly, you explain it away. You make excuses. You think, but we had such a strong connection. This can't be wrong. You ignore your gut. You override your boundaries. You accept treatment you'd never tolerate from someone you didn't feel that initial spark with. The intensity of the beginning becomes your evidence that the relationship is meant to be, even when everything else is showing you it's meant to end. This is how people end up in relationships with narcissists, with addicts, with people who are fundamentally incompatible with them. They felt something strong at the beginning and mistook intensity for rightness. They confused dopamine with destiny. And by the time they realize the person they fell for doesn't actually exist, that the real person is someone completely different, they already trauma bonded, already invested, already attached to the fantasy they can't let go of. Love at first sight isn't romantic. It's reckless. It's your brain making life-altering decisions based on incomplete information and chemical rushes. Real love is slow. It's built, it's earned through consistency and time and seeing someone in 1,000 different contexts. It's not a lightning bolt. It's a choice you make over and over after you actually know who you're choosing. The spark doesn't tell you if someone is good for you. Time does. Behavior does. Character does. So what do you do with this information? You stop trusting the spark. You stop making the initial rush of attraction mean more than it does. You recognize it for what it is. Physical chemistry, biological response, potential, nothing more. You is low down. You give yourself time to actually see the person in front of you, not the fantasy, the real human with flaws and complexity and patterns you need to understand before you commit. You let love develop. You let it grow from knowledge instead of projection, from reality instead of hope. Love at first sight is a myth. But love that grows from truly seeing someone and choosing them anyway, that's real. That lasts. Stop chasing the fantasy. Start building the real thing. If you want to understand what real love actually looks like, subscribe.